All right. I'm really excited to introduce the next session. So gaming platforms have a unique challenge, depending on how you look at it, when you're creating accounts for younger users or really users of all ages. So we're really excited to have Yuki and Dylan from Roblox here to talk about their passkeys deployment. So please help me welcome them to the stage.
Hi everyone, I'm Yuki. I'm a product manager on the account security team at Roblox.
And I'm Dylan Siegler, our data scientist.
Today we're very excited to share with you how we are bringing passkeys to all ages at Roblox. So we'll walk you through what we have learned, where we're heading next, and what's worked. So first, I want to talk to you a bit about what is Roblox and what are the unique security challenges that we face that led us to this passkey journey. So what is Roblox? For anyone less familiar, Roblox is an immersive gaming platform built on user-generated content. That means the users do not just play on Roblox, they also create. So we have over 100 million daily active players on Roblox. They come to Roblox to play games and connect with their friends. And actually, about half of our user base are under 13 young users. And on the other hand, we have professional game creators and even brands like Nike and Gucci coming to Roblox to create games and host events, connect with their fans. So that diversity creates a very unique security challenge. Imagine this. As a 6-year-old kid, you receive a message on Roblox. Someone tells you, "Oh, I will give you free Robux." Robux is the virtual currency on Roblox. "I'll give you free Robux if you share your password with me." And a 6-year-old kid doesn't know any better. They will share their password, and minutes later, they'll come crying to you because they have now lost their account. So that is one side of our user base. And on the other side, we have high-value creator accounts worth millions of dollars in asset. How do we protect both ends of the spectrum? We need to protect both a 6-year-old kid and a professional creator. But security is not our only challenge. We also see a challenge in growth and cost. 70% of our customer support tickets are about account ownership. When users create their accounts on Roblox, we do not require email or phone numbers because of our young user base. So that means if you have forgot your password, your account is lost. And that's not just a matter of support cost, it's also a moment of frustration and sometimes a moment of churn. So our mission became clear. We needed an authentication method that's easy enough for kids, secure enough for creators, and also frictionless enough for everyone. So our vision is that all Roblox users should have secure and accessible accounts without passwords, powered by passkeys. I'll now hand it over to Dylan to talk about how we are rolling out passkeys and what are the learnings we have learned so far.
So here's a snapshot of what we've achieved over the last 2 years since our launch. 18% of our active users have adopted passkeys. What does this actually translate to in terms of business impact? We see a 1% engagement lift driven by passkeys, and as well 5% more users are logging in successfully. Ultimately for us, this is the confirmation that passkeys can drive both growth and security, but I'm going to walk through how we got here. Here's a quick timeline of what we've worked on over the last 2 years. So in 2023, we started with passkey login, as well as introducing passkeys in settings. And then in 2024, we worked on passkeys at signup. And some of our ongoing work is driving adoption for existing users through upsells and other means. So we started by adding passkeys in settings for existing users. But why did we choose this surface first? We felt it was relatively low risk, both because of the low volume in settings, but as well because all of these users would still have a password to fall back on. However, the A/B tests that we ran here were really meaningful for understanding data. So things like when and how often do users log in with passkeys, but also understanding the business impact. So some of the numbers that I shared on the previous slides started really with the A/B tests here in settings. And that strong impact is what allowed us to get buy-in from stakeholders. As things stand currently, settings only accounts for about 15% of our overall passkey ads, but was a really meaningful starting point for gathering this data and understanding business impact, as well as getting buy-in. We then worked on passkeys for new users at sign-up. And again, the question of why new users and why this surface. This was largely informed by our previous learnings from passkeys and settings. We had a decent faith and understanding that passkeys are easy and usable, and that's especially important for our new users. As well, offering passkeys at sign-up allowed us to have passkey-only accounts. We all know the security benefits there. So ultimately, we saw this as a win-win. The flow is more usable, passkeys are more usable, as well as the security benefits. So the screenshots to the right here show the currently launched version of passkey signup. So users input the normal information like username and birthday, and they're then prompted with the OS dialog for adding passkeys. If they choose to decline adding a passkey, we then show a kind of fallback screen where the users can add a traditional password. Now, we did iterate on this UI a few times, so the previous slide showed a previous iteration in terms of the timing and where exactly we're showing the OS dialog. We wanted to reduce the amount of drop-off here because ultimately users who don't sign up for Roblox, it isn't good for us or the user. And what we found is that changing the sign-up flow relatively little or like maintaining consistency with what we currently had was really the best approach here. Based on our experiment, 12% of users that went through the sign-up flow actually chose to add a passkey. And I want to expand a little bit more on the A/B test that we ran there. As well, what we saw is a 2% increase in retention driven by passkeys. And the mechanism here is that passkeys are more usable, so when users come back and have to log in again to their accounts, it is easier if they have a passkey added, resulting in the retention increase. As well, for passkey-only users, we saw a 15% decrease in account takeovers. Both of these numbers combined are even further validation that passkeys can tangibly drive growth and security for our users. As well, I mentioned for users who went through the passkey flow, only 12% of them added a passkey, but because of the large volume, this currently makes up 85% of all of our passkey users are coming from this sign-up flow. Now I want to talk a little bit about some of our ongoing work. So this is a chart that I made at the beginning of this year to understand our path towards our goal of 100% passwordless. So the blue line is if we kind of did nothing and we kept the current approach of settings and sign-up surfaces for passkeys. We would pretty quickly reach a ceiling of adoption here. The green line was modeling out if we upsell passkeys to existing users. And so ultimately, it became clear that this is what we had to pursue. And that's what we've been working on this year. On the upsell front, the user-facing front, we're looking at two surfaces here. One is after login, and then as well during our account recovery flow. We feel that these are kind of natural times to upsell the user because they're thinking about authentication, and we aren't immediately interrupting anything else that they might be doing. As well, we're looking to leverage the conditional create APIs to automatically convert saved passwords into passkeys. So I want to deep dive a little bit into a recent A/B test that we ran for our account recovery flow, upselling passkeys there. So the three screenshots that I'm showing here are three different variants that we ran. And these are all living in your kind of traditional forgot password flow that we have for Roblox. And we have them labeled here. So the subtle variant adds a add passkey button to the account recovery flow. The middle variant, user education, shows a modal that has a bit of explanation about passkeys. The user can choose to accept or add a or decline or add a passkey. And then the forceful variant here simply throws the OS dialog in the user's face when they get to account recovery. What we found here is that the forceful variant did result in the highest passkey adoption. However, it was jarring for the users, and so some of them churned off, failed to complete account recovery, and then we've lost them entirely. And the positive business impact there is kind of negated by this churn, and we actually saw net negative impact here. However, the subtle and user education variants didn't end up having this issue. And between the two, we found that the user education one actually resulted in the most passkey ads, and that's the one that we're going to ship. Now I'll hand it back to Yuki to share how we've refined the user experience to make passkeys easier and clearer to use.
Thank you, Dylan. Now that we have walked through how we are driving up adoption about passkeys, we also need to make sure that users know how to use the passkeys they have added. So after we have launched passkey at signup and saw more and more users adopted passkeys, we noticed something surprising. Even if we are prompting passkey OS dialog at the login page for those who have a passkey on the device, we still see that about 21% of passkey users are still using password to log in, even if their accounts may not even have a password. And we realized that it was a UX issue. So when users see the passkey OS dialog, out of habit or confusion, they might just dismiss the OS dialog. And what's left there is just a page that's asking for username and password. So you can imagine how confusing that is. As a user, you will think, Roblox is asking me for a password, so I must have one. And then they could be typing something random when their account doesn't even have a password at all. This is because we show all users the same login page to always center around password and username. So we redesigned this login experience into a multi-page adaptive flow. On the first page, we'll ask user what their account is. They'll give their username, email, or phone number. Once we have identified their account, we'll then show the authentication method that's unique to this account. For example, if an account only has passkeys, then we will only show passkey, and we will automatically prompt the OS dialog on top of the login page for them to easily use the passkey on this device. But if the account only has password, no passkey, then we shouldn't show the passkey to confuse the user to use something that they don't have on the account. And lastly, if they have both passkey and password, we'll be showing both options, but we'll be promoting passkeys if it is indeed on the device. So with this simple change, we see a big difference. We saw an 11% increase in passkey login attempts, and also a 4.5% decrease on password logging attempts. This shows that even with great technology like passkeys, clarity and good UX is still what ultimately drives usage. The next problem we saw was that users can play Roblox on almost any platform. They can play on phone, PC, PlayStation, Xbox, or VR. But how do those users who signed up with a passkey access other devices like PlayStation, Xbox, or VR headsets? We need a way to expand those passkey-based accounts to log in on those non-passkey supported devices. So our solution here is that we are leveraging a QR code login method on Roblox. So here, when users want to log in on console or VR, they will see a QR code or a short code displayed on the device that they want to be logged in on. And then they can use their phone where the passkey lives to scan the QR code or enter the short code. So once the user confirms passkey on their phone, they'll be logged in on the VR or console device where passkey is not supported. So this really makes our passkey-based accounts be able to access any device, even if they're not passkey supported yet. All of the improvements we've shared so far, from improving logging to bridging different platforms, are all share the same goal. We want to make sure users can seamlessly use passkey on any devices and for all ages. We're taking this one step further, especially for our creator community and younger users. So I want to share a little bit about an upcoming feature that we will roll out. It's called Enhanced Protection Program. It's designed for our top creators on the platform. We see that a lot of our top creators were having over millions of dollars in assets are frequent targets for phishing and sophisticated targeted attacks. How can we make sure that their accounts do not just have passkeys, but their whole account is phishing resistant? We need a way to eliminate the usage of phishing non-resistant method like password and authenticator app 2SV. So what we will do is that once a user enroll in the program, they will no longer be able to use any phishing non-resistant method. They will have to use security key or passkey to access their accounts or perform any sensitive actions like paying out others or changing their password. Or maybe they do not have a password at all. So with this approach, we plan to have all of our top creators enrolled in the program so that every creator are protected with the best security standard possible. Next, our final area for exploration is about how we are going to understand younger users and their parents' approach passkeys. So because, like I mentioned before, half of our user base are under 13 users. That means their user behavior around account access is very different from the traditional platforms. We need a way to understand how the younger users are interacting with passkeys, especially because, for example, a young user could be sharing a device with their siblings at home, or they could be going to school and using their school device to play Roblox. Even when they're home, their parents may be the one who are managing the passkey and unlocking devices for them. How would they use passkey and interact with their accounts? So we're looking to understand how parents help their kids set up accounts and how younger users interact with passkey prompts. Once we have conducted that research, we'll share the findings with the community because we believe that's key for our understanding of how to roll out passkey, not just for adults, but for the entire community, regardless of age. So with that, that's the end of our presentation. We have I'll have 12 minutes left, so we're welcome to take any questions you may have. Yeah.
Thank you. So we have several in the app. So I'm a big Roblox passkeys fan. I have 2 children. It's amazing. So the question, we have a bunch of questions in the app, and then I'll come over to you. I'll ask this one first. The 12% number of folks that sign up so account creation, the 12%. What are you attributing that to? Because okay, I know I'm a power user, but it seems pretty obvious. I've signed up for many accounts. My kids have like multiple Roblox accounts for various reasons. It seems like the UX is pretty good as like a no-brainer to do it. So, but I'm obviously a power user. So what do you attribute that? Seems like kind of low number.
Yeah, so we do see that a lot of users, even though the user experience is that you'll see the OS dialog overlaid on top of the sign up page, it could seem very intuitive to just use passkeys. A lot of users are on purpose dismissing that OS dialog to use password instead. And the reason for that, one could be that, especially for younger users, they may not even know how to unlock this device they're using. It could be their parents' device. So because they're not able to unlock the device, they cannot create a passkey. And instead, they will fall back to the password page.
That makes a lot of sense. I'll come to you 1 second. I'm just going to go back here. And then, so it's you, Cam, you.
Thank you. Hi. So I'm curious about recovery, particularly around the group that you said they're your like they're creators. So you're now removing the ability for them to use a password entirely. So what happens if they get a new phone? How are you thinking about that?
That is a great question. So we thought a lot about recovery because recovery, if we don't do it well, it will be the weakest point of the account access. So we are going to enforce users to always be able to recover by using two different methods, if they are enrolled in that program, if we think the current recovery is high risk, we might not even process that recovery attempt to delay the request for a little bit. Yeah, so we're going to allow non-phishing resistant methods only if users give us two different ones.
Hi, Cam from PlayStation. So in family use cases, we also see friendly fraud, as we call it, where users are having access or doing payments that we don't want, or at least the family manager doesn't want. Do you have other user access controls outside of passkey to prevent these use cases? Like a pen or something else, just because we know that passkeys can be on shared devices like iPads, and that certainly can be a challenge.
Yeah, that is a great question. So we do have a lot of kids using shared devices to play Roblox, but right now we're not too focused on family fraud yet because, as I mentioned, we have a lot of creators who are under like frequent phishing and sophisticated attacks. So right now we're prioritizing the security of our creator group. However, the next step could be like looking into how to help kids access their accounts better when they're sharing devices. Yeah, so we'll definitely look into this more and happy to chat afterwards.
And we do have parental controls as well for like the first line of defense there.
That was also our that was our number one question in the app. So thank you, Cam.
Hey, I'm Gunjit from Home Depot. You mentioned the cross-device approach for like the gaming consoles, which don't support like passkey creation and passkey sign up. So can you share some of the success numbers from that? Like what percentage of users are successfully using that flow? And what is the failure rate? And if there's a lot of failures, why you think those are happening?
I don't think we have the numbers off the top of our head. If you want to chat afterwards, it's probably the best way. I know our cross-device flows, there tends to be failure because it can just be high volume. People will scam them for various reasons. So we are working to like better understand how to both get clean measurement there as well as actually substantially improve the user experience.
Hi, thank you so much for presenting. I'm Jason from Meta. I was curious if you all have seen substantially different account takeover numbers in terms of the different experiments you all have run in terms of like password plus passkey accounts versus exclusively passkey accounts, and if you're able to share anything that's stat sig or things like that. Thanks so much.
Yeah, the passkey only accounts are significantly better. So we see like it was a 15% reduction in account takeovers. That's the main way that we measure like hacking and that kind of stuff on the security side. Password plus passkey, I don't know what the baseline is off the top of my head, but the 15% was compared to users who were password only. So that's the baseline there.
Yeah, to add to this, right now we haven't done any upsells to existing users. We're still working on that. So the complete password users are all new users. So the user behavior of a new user versus an existing user going to their settings to add passkey would also be very different.
Any other questions in the room?
I had the question about the account takeovers deduction as well. You mentioned it's minus 15% compared to the password only account. So it's like in the group where you have a passkey, they are 50% less likely to get compromised than if they have a password. Am I understanding it right?
Yeah.
And do you know what contributes to it? Is it because basically the recovery is not phishable and basically passkeys we know more secure, or anything else?
Yeah, I think the main mechanisms there are mostly the phishing resistance of passkeys. I think we have like, I don't know, we have some research on in the previous world what the majority of our account compromises were coming from phishing. I don't think that's too surprising. So that would at least be what I assume there. We haven't specifically looked into more user research about we haven't looked into user research on mechanisms for when account takeovers happen for passkey only users, how that happens, because it does still occur. It's obviously not zero, but it would mostly be from the phishing. Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm going to ask one question from the app and then I'll come over if we have time. Just a quick one clarification. One of your earliest slides, you showed the engagement rate, and folks were just wondering, like, in your context, what exactly that means.
Oh yeah, for us, I assume it's
I think it was
the
like plus one.
yeah. So that would be time spent for us is the main thing we look at. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, this is David from Google. Can you share a little bit more about the UX improvements on Android devices? Thank you.
Yeah, that is a great question. We actually work very closely with the Google Android team because, especially when we rolled out passkey signup, it's also a very important step to consider how password still works because, like we mentioned, 12% of users would use passkey to sign up, but the rest 78%. 88 no, it's not. Oh, okay. 12%, it's 70. Oh, wait, 88%, sorry. Okay. 88% of users will use still password to sign up. So we actually have to really think about how do the password saving mechanisms still work on this passkey sign up flow. And we actually experimented multiple times because there were some mistakes on how password saving was not correctly set up for those passkey users in the passkey sign-up experience. So that's the main thing that we worked on was how to integrate with the credential manager on Android. But going forward, we're going to integrate with the conditional create API to convert the saved password to passkey for users.
Probably have time for one more, if anyone has any other questions.
Quick question on the account recovery side. Suppose if your passkey get deleted from the private or the public key, how will that experience looks like for the users who used only passkeys to sign up? Imagine if their passkey get deleted from either the iCloud or from the RP side.
Yeah, so that would mean if they didn't add an email or phone number to their account, they would have unfortunately lost their account because we do not, once they, for example, deleted their passkey from their iCloud keychain or Google Password Manager, we cannot use that passkey anymore for their account. That's why we don't think passkey is the only thing user needs. They still need a backup to come back to their accounts. Yeah, but we need to make sure that we consider all the risk factor when they come back and if they use the non-phishing resistant methods.
Follow up. How do you take that backup factor? Do you take that during the enrollment process, like when they're creating the account, or is it like at a later stage?
It is at a later stage because a lot of our users are so young. We do not require any email or phone number at sign up, and only after sign up we would ask them to add their email or phone numbers. Only if they are over 13, we ask for phone numbers.
Thank you.
All right, well, please help me to thank Yuki and Dylan for an awesome presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.